Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, everybody, welcome back, and I'm joined by Annie Baker Atwood. Annie, welcome. So nice to have you here, owner of Red Boots Reiki. Why don't you, if you can, please give the audience a little review, just a little bit about yourself, Red Boots Reiki, about what you do, and before we get into your great topic today, because it's a good one.
I am Annie Baker Atwood. I am a Reiki master, which means that I can charge up all of your internal batteries. Just like on your phone, you have batteries inside of you and it gets shrinking and shrinking. And you're like, whoa, I can't exist. My phone's on 10%, but we don't recharge ourselves. And so you can recharge yourself, and I can do an even deeper charge, either via Zoom or in person if you happen to be in Blue Hill, Maine.
Okay, so that recharging, are you talking about what I've learned is the chakras? Is that what those what we have to recharge?
Yes, and in addition to, I think of the little cells as cars on the highway, and the chakras as where you fill up with gas on the New Jersey Turnpike. So, you drive in, and in New Jersey, they have to pump the gas for you.
Yeah.
And then you leave. So your energy cells are always, always moving. And if they get stuck, that's where issues happen. So the chakras are kind of the main parts that I will energize, but the energy cells kind of come in and leave and come in and leave. And it's almost like a jellyfish. You know how a jellyfish looks? They're so magnificent.
Yeah.
They expand and then they contract. They expand and they contract. And that's how your energy cells get regenerated.
Gotcha. If I have one blockage or something in one of my chakras or one area, does that mean the rest of me is not in sync or not in alignment?
It depends. It means the other parts are having to work harder. But I don't know anybody who doesn't have some sort of blocked chakras. I run mine every day.
I was going to ask, even you?
Yeah. So last night it was like, oh, we've just had this huge eclipse and all of this. It's a really good time to run my root chakra, which is kind of the home, the family, your source of security. And it was fascinating because it was really deep cleaning. So I think of chakras as kind of those glass ornaments that you would hang on a Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the inside and the outside. So if you polish just the outside of your ornament, but don't scrubby-dubby the inside, then it's not as clear. And so when I'm working with somebody, I make sure that I clear the outside of the chakra as well as the inside of the chakra.
Gotcha. And do you have to give yourself treatment every day? Do you have to do?
I choose to. Yep. And you can too. And I will give you the 30 seconds how to align your chakras so that they snap in like the habit trail. And that's just really quick, very easy to do, and it just puts you in a great mood. And a lot of these little tips are on my YouTube channel, which is also Red Boots Reiki, and it's called Reiki to the Rescue. And it's just kind of little, and they're each about a minute long. So you probably won't fall asleep. But it's, how to get yourself back to sleep, how to get rid of a headache, how to clear your aura. Your aura is your energy skin. And it's, just around you. And clearing that is really helpful several times a day so that you don't get pounced on by other people's energy and have it stick to you.
Can you see that aura?
I can. I typically feel it more. Other people see auras more clearly than I do, but it's there.
Mhm.
I know.
And what you were saying before, you were saying that there's in 5 minutes I could teach you how to kind of even yourself out, like even to someone like who's listening right now, or myself who's a beginner who doesn't know anything about it. You could really, we could pick that up. It's not like a gift that you have, it's something you can learn.
Nope, nope. So there's kind of two things that go on. If you're inside your aura, it's your energy. So you can recharge it yourself. If I'm working outside of the aura, then you're going to want to work with someone who's skilled in it. But every single person can learn Reiki. It's taught to 5-year-olds. All that you need to be able to do is keep your feet on the floor during the attunements, which sometimes hard for my wiggly ones. But anyone can learn Reiki. And depending on how much training you've had and how many attunements you have, kind of increases the level of skill.
Is an attunement a lesson?
It is kind of opening your channel. So if you're thinking about a camera, it's adding more pixels to the image. So do you remember like days before HD TV?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so, the pixels were bigger.
Hmm.
And then as we refined our technology, the pixels got smaller and the image got
Clearer.
clearer.
Yeah.
That's a similar analogy to the attunements.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I got a million questions for you, but I want to get to your topic. I don't want to skip over that because it's one that's awesome. Let me have you introduce it because it's something that everyone can
Oh my
relate
gosh.
to.
We are going to talk about gratitude. And um, it being, November, a lot of people are talking about gratitude. And the best way to have gratitude is have a gratitude journal and write down your gratitude every day, all over Facebook, gratitude challenges, etc. And I feel very resistant to that because it kind of, to me, feels like um, one of those reading logs that you had to keep in middle school. Write down what page you started on, write down what page you ended on, for no purpose other than just documenting that you read. And so for my sons, they would refuse to read because they didn't want to take out their log and log it, which they're amazing readers. So I was kind of, and that's sometimes how I feel about gratitude journals. You can have gratitude, which is an expression of joy. Let's just define what it is. And joy is an inside job. Joy is an inside job, and gratitude is the external way that you are showing that you are in the state of joy. And it's kind of, a lot of people get that backwards. They're like, oh, if I express gratitude, I'll be joyful. And it doesn't always work that way. So if you can be in joy, which is, and I'm going to talk about how you can kind of feel that in the different chakras, but if you can be in joy, you respond differently than if you are in defense. So if I'm in a place of joy and I'm coming up on a lot of meetings, my response is going to be, oh, this is amazing. Look at all the people I get to meet. I am going to really be open to what they say, and this is going to be fantastic. If you go into it with a feeling of guardedness, well, what are they going to say to me? You think they're not going to like my idea? It's a very different feeling. And this goes for business folks, it goes for parents, it goes for college kids. I know that a lot of college kids are coming home after their freshman year for the first time. And I just would really strongly, if you can choose joy, it's going to go a lot, you're going to have a better time. And I'm not saying that every parent was perfect. A lot of college kids come home and they feel very out of sorts because they've now been exposed to something really different, and they're coming home and they feel like they don't fit anymore because they outgrew that container. But if you can choose joy and say, okay, yeah, I've grown. That used to fit me and now it doesn't. And I can send it off and release it. And gee, what else can I bring in? Because if you try to hold on to too many things, you end up with a really crammed closet.
Good way to put it. Yeah.
So
Yep.
in order to expand, you really need to donate a lot of stuff. And those can be feelings, those can be old patterns. So maybe you were the one who got the laugh because you were sarcastic, and maybe you weren't always really kind to others, but it got you the attention that you wanted. You can decide not to do that anymore, and you can choose joy and say, oh yeah, that person has a really different opinion than I do. I don't have to agree with it, but I'm going to speak kindly to myself and others. And in speaking kindly to yourself and others, you're feeling joy. So there's two chakras that this is talking about. One is your voice chakra, and that's right here. And your mantra for your voice chakra is I speak kindly to myself and others. And it's a great reset. Your heart chakra is I choose joy. And the way I explain it, especially to my sons, is joy means you feel neither superior nor inferior to someone. And it's a great way to go into a networking event because you're just showing a lot of openness of, oh, hey, I like me. Let's see if we have a good conversation going on. And sometimes you don't. And then you say, wow, it was really great to meet you. And you exit. It's not difficult. But if you go in wanting to prove a point, then if somebody doesn't want to hear that point, you stick to it and you're like, nope, I'm going to get this point across before people are leaving. And then at that point, you really want to say, I choose joy and I speak kindly to myself and others.
Mm-hmm.
And just take a breath, realign yourself, and move on because not everybody's going to agree with you.
Right. You should say that out loud and touch the chakra when you do it. Yeah.
You can, you don't have to.
But you could say it in your head. You can
Yeah. Or
okay.
you can just, know that just by doing this, you're saying, okay, I'm going to speak kindly to myself and others. And it can be, sometimes it's harder for us to speak kindly to ourselves than it is to others.
Yeah.
And so we can have a lot of old scripts, running through our head of, oh, wow, I don't like X, Y, and Z. And they can kind of be pretty loud in your head. And so by rewriting those scripts and speaking kindly to yourself, you are just going to feel more relaxed because you're not walking into every situation defensive. And when you walk into situations and you're kind of feeling like, oh, I got to prove myself. If I don't, if I'm not perfect, if I'm not, the main contributor in a meeting, they're not going to like me. Which then you're always looking for that. You're always looking, do they like me? Do they not like me? And you're allocating your response by somebody else. And when I got to do, I called them my TV landers, teaching kindergarten via Zoom. I had to remember I was always on camera and I always needed to be smiling because they're 5. And if they look up and they have me pinned, and there I am, they want to see a smile, because if a grown up is not smiling, a child starts to think, what did I do wrong?
Oh,
And I wouldn't want that to happen. I mean, I definitely gave some, looks if I needed to correct a behavior. But in general, if you're smiling, people will approach you, and keeping that in mind. And if you're smiling at yourself by speaking kindly to yourself and others, it just makes it a lot more fun. Which, the other part of gratitude that people forget, is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be this, I'm going to generate a list of, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this. There are a lot of things that we're inherently grateful for. And that's kind of like big gratitude. I am very grateful that I have a place to live and that I have hot water and I'm not being hit by hurricanes. I am definitely grateful for that. My house brings me joy. Every time I walk in, I get what I call a house hug. It just has this fantastic energy. And every single Reiki client who comes to my studio, which is in my house, feels it. They just say, oh my gosh, I've just relaxed. And if you can get yourself to a physical place, and a lot of times it's through visualization or listening to something. I'm a visual girl. And so I have a very specific shoreline view that I always think of when I need happiness, and if I need to reset, because everybody needs to reset.
yeah.
So one of the things that I want to talk about is when you are feeling joy, whether it's through your heart chakra, your voice chakra, or any of your other energy centers, it's kind of, going on a road trip with a full tank of gas, that glorious feeling of walking into a really clean house. You just feel it, and it feels very supportive and loving. And kind of, you put your shoulders back and you just, that feels so good. And if you can bring in that feeling before any interaction, it just calms everything down. And your meetings go better, whether it's, seeing relatives that maybe you were a little hesitant to be around. And it's going to be interesting. I still don't know where we're going to be with COVID and with it running around. So you might be in person, you might not. Hard to tell, right?
Right.
So having your scripts, which, practice them. Wow, grandma, I am so excited to see you. I appreciate being here. Often college kids come home and they're on a really different sleep schedule. But you know what? Even if you're going to bed at 2 a.m, leave a sticky note right by the coffee maker where your mom or dad is going to see it in the morning. And, you can just draw a smiley face, a heart, just something to show, one, that you're alive, and two, that you're happy to be home, even if you can't express it. Because remember, gratitude is the expression of joy. And so a lot of people feel it, but don't know what it is. And then they don't have the vocabulary to express. And so I'm just going to let you know that feeling is the most important thing, because joy is an inside job. And it's that moment where you say, oh, that went well. that makes me happy. And sometimes it can be really little things. When my children all went to boarding school, and so Thanksgiving was often the first time they were home. And what they missed most were their dogs and the kitchen. And I would, kind of wake up in the morning and there would be, you know, pots, pans, dishes all over the place and a big pile of cookies. So somebody had a good time. And it was just this, I can create in the kitchen. This feels good. I would wake up and they'd be, cuddling the dog, and it just felt right. And so, they wouldn't have said, I have gratitude for my dog, but you could see it. You could really sense that ability to cuddle the dog or two, depending on how many we had, was just so restorative for them. And that's the part of joy that you're going to feel, and you're going to feel it just as a relaxation and a big breath in, and it makes you smile.
Those are all great things, especially, coming up with the holidays. And I'm sure that a lot of people out there are waiting for that feeling that you're talking about, just that feeling of, yes, this is good.
Yeah. And I don't have to prove anything. I am accepted and loved with joy exactly how I am.
Yeah.
So let's run through the chakras and do your little alignment here. So you're going to take either hand and you put it in between your hip bones. And you say, I am fully present.
I'm fully present.
Underneath your belly button, I use all my senses.
I use all my senses.
Above your belly button, I trust my gut.
I trust my gut.
On your heart, I choose joy.
I choose joy.
On your throat, I speak kindly to myself and others.
I speak kindly to myself and others.
In between your eyebrows, I use my knowledge.
I use my knowledge.
And then above your head, I let light shine through me.
I let light shine through me.
And what that's done is it has aligned all of your chakras, and you are now grounded so that you can accept energy from the sky and energy from below, kind of like a tree. So all your leaves are now activated and your roots are activated, and you are getting what you need.
Thank you.
And as I said, it takes very little time to do that. And you don't even have to say it. You can just kind of like push the buttons.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And that's pretty awesome. Hey, we're about out of time, but let me give you the last word here. Anything that you want to leave the audience with, let us think about. You got the floor, my friend.
Yes. So if you are still trying to prove something, maybe, you weren't the favorite child growing up or whatever, or you're having a lot of scripts that don't show you in a positive light. I'm always like, hey, we can reshoot that scene and have you the main event instead of somebody else. But call me, because I can help with that. And it takes less than an hour to really unwire some stuff and to kind of put you on the right track. So whether it's a business, because sometimes businesses are outgrowing, their original design, or athletes, maybe you're bursting into a new level of competition, or just personal stuff. I can help a lot with that.
And how do we get there? Like the website and the phone number?
Phone number's on the website, and it's www.redbootsreiki.com. As well as there are a lot of videos, Reiki to the Rescue, on my YouTube. So subscribe, because those come out once a week. And and if you need something addressed, email me, because I'll address it. If you need information on something, they're fun to do.
All right. Annie, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. If I don't see you, have a happy Thanksgiving, you and your family. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we will be right back, guys.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.